I had a topic. I have a topic.
Okay.
hmm I think we should talk about what the hell's going on with me.
I freaking love that. And I do have stuff for next time that I will add to our list.
Oh my God. No,
Okay.
I want to talk about perimenopause. I really do.
Okay.
I want to openly discuss how I things are completely weird and changing. I have felt off. I've had crazy diarrhea. I don't know what has happened. Now we're in Tahoe and we're definitely experiencing a lot of pollen and people are going crazy ballistic. But I think it's menopause related. I've been a little depressed, I think. I have not been motivated. I've been really heavy. And I finally just acknowledged it to Alex today. I took him to the airport at 5:30, which is not helping my feelings of fatigue that seem ever present these days. Like I just cannot get caught up on anything. And I I finally said to him, I said, I think I'm a little depressed. Not depressed as in whoa, but because I don't want to throw that word around because I think people that do have depression, it is a big, huge deal. And I'm not anywhere close to that. But I have a heaviness about me that is not typical for me. And I mean, you've spent enough time with me. I'm pretty high energy. I'm pretty motivated. I'm pretty like, blah, blah, blah. And I haven't been meditating. I haven't been journaling because when I wake up, I'm exhausted. I'm just exhausted, even too exhausted to meditate. I literally too exhausted to meditate because I'll fall back asleep. So I get on my phone and I scroll, right? So no, that's not good. That does not help my motivation for life. That does not help anything. So, anyways, I just thought we should talk about perimenopause. hmm And how my vagina is dry and my skin is like a death zone of the Sahara Desert. Dry, dry. My cuticles dry. Everything's dry.
Wow.
I know. I- oh, and my joints are killing me all the time. I did find out recently that 80% of people in perimenopause have that. And
Hmm.
it like joint pain. I wake up in the mornings and my body hurts from
Ouch.
sleeping. Like my hip bones hurt or my tailbone will hurt if I've ever and my shoulders if I laid on one shoulder too long, which is totally disrupting my sleep patterns, right? Because then I'm having to move and I'm uncomfortable and I can't find a comfortable spot. Look at me just vomit on you, but those are all things that are
Please.
just and so I went on to Mayo Clinic's website and we've started following on vaginawhispering.com. We started following more Vagina Whispering, sorry, on Instagram, some more people. And then I started following them personally. And there's a lot of information out there for people sorry, my nose itches, to look at. But the things that I saw on Mayo Clinic, their website, it's interesting. Irregular periods, no shit, Sherlock. Vaginal dryness, yes. Hot flashes, yes. Chills, night sweats, sleep problems, mood changes, weight gain and slow metabolism, thinning hair and dry skin, loss of breast fullness. At least that one's never going to happen because they were never full.
So you
So
beat perimenopause to the
got
punch, is what you're
yeah, I
saying.
got that
Screw
one
you,
covered.
Perry.
Screw you, Perry. It doesn't actually say things that I'm learning on some of my Instagram
Hmm.
experts, like the doctors that are talking about it and talking about depression but I mean mood changes, sure, but like the heaviness or the joint pain. And that's not even on here. Mayo Clinic doesn't even have that as one of their symptoms. And I know it is. 80% of people in perimenopause experience joint pain. But no, it's talking about it. So, anyways, all right, I'm going to stop. You go.
No,
I'm writing some
that's
things
why we're
down.
talking about this.
Yeah,
Because that was our commitment in doing our
right.
podcast was to talk about some of the things that are not really being talked about.
Yeah.
And as you're sharing that, I'm kind of sitting in this place of remembering when going through different medical treatment that sometimes, unless everybody pretty much experiences something, some doctors won't talk about the side effects of things, medications, conditions, because maybe they don't want to plant the seed in your
hmm
mind, because then you may manifest that.
Right.
And I don't know where the threshold, where is that line of, well, we should mention it anyway, just in
hmm
case, versus, well, let's not plant a
Plant a seed.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just a reminder, I did not go through perimenopause. I was thrown into menopause from chemotherapy. So I'd love to say I missed out on this, but being thrown into menopause, from what I understand, makes those symptoms worse. So I relate to pretty much everything. It just wasn't it wasn't peri, it was menopause.
Menopause, right?
So yeah, and I'm sorry about the joint. That's so interesting about the
Oh,
joint pain. I thought when I had joint pain, I was going to a women's cancer support group for a couple of years, soon after, not after I was diagnosed, but after I got like surgery. So I waited because for whatever reason. And every woman in the room had knee pain and I was getting knee pain and I was like, "Ah, oh,
oh.
crap. Like this is part of whatever this is." But they're all also 15 to 20 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
But we all attributed it to the medication that we're taking, which is meant to like a aromatase inhibitor, and it's called something else. But basically, it blocks the production or the absorption of hormones or estrogen, depending on if you got breast cancer before, menopause, or after. And but it's all about your hormones changing. And I had pretty significant knee pain. My mother-in-law's, I don't know, 30 years older than me, and there are times when I'd get out of bed and I would walk just like her for about 40 seconds, and then the juices get flowing. And yeah.
So this has been happening. So I got that after I got pregnant. So I did find out that that is common after you get pregnant as well. So I
Okay.
went to my chiropractor and he was like, Jen, I mean, this is a while ago, but well, how funny is this though? It was probably, she was probably 6. So this was just like within the
Oh.
last year.
Hmm.
And he said, your body is finally getting back to normal, like how you were prior to your pregnancy. I was like, what? But one of the things that I experienced early on was joint pain. So then when it came back about a year ago, I think I've been experiencing joint pain for about a year.
Hmm.
And I didn't ever know it was related to menopause. So I have just been like getting out of bed, like you said, and walking like my father walks. And I'm like, I am not going to be him. So I consciously, I'm like, you're good. Maybe you should stretch a little bit before you get out of bed. I mean, right? I'm all, you are not your father. And I mean, all that, okay. That,
Hmm.
all those sounds make it real, right? That I didn't have any idea that it is really, I wasn't making up in my head. I wasn't making it up. I thought I was just being Brad or weak. I suppose I just kind of felt like, what's wrong with you? Your joints are hurting? Like, come on. You need to exercise more. You need to eat better. You're dehydrated or you had too much wine last night. No, keep drinking the wine, sister. It's not the wine.
Drink up, baby. Yes, I hear you. There you go.
No, I'm drinking water right now,
Yeah, no,
not
I got
wine.
that.
My bad.
No, no, it's all good. I'm just kind of sitting with this. I just had lunch with a couple of women friends, and one is, I think she's about 9 years older than I am, and she was talking about hormone replacement there. And I'm just bringing
Hmm.
this up. And
Yeah, of
obviously,
course.
this isn't to dispense any kind of medical information, but just for informational purposes, we're talking about this and also talking about for you.
And we are not doctors. We are not like telling, like, so just disclose right there. We're not trying to
Yeah.
tell anyone what to do. Okay.
Absolutely not. But she was talking about her experience with her doctor suggesting to her for hormone. Well, actually, did she talk? Oh, now I'm forgetting. Sorry. Apparently, she says she's too old to start it now, but she's noticing all these symptoms with her skin where her skin has aged, it looks like rapidly, and it's extremely dry. So what you're talking about the skin, I know I've always had trouble sleeping, falling asleep, not so much staying asleep, but menopause completely changed that. That's really hard for me. So the restfulness, I wake up kind of how you're describing. I don't pop out of bed because I seem to rarely get a really adequate night's sleep where I feel energetic and I get up. So now I've adapted to like, I'm going to keep resting. And also, it helps me think because the thinking I do as I'm trying to fall asleep at night, I've keep my mind a bit too occupied during the day. So I've etched that out as a time to go over my day, to maybe connect if somebody wants to connect with me spiritually, but just to kind of sit with things. So I don't mind it as much. But I'm up sometimes at 4 in the morning and I'm like, God damn, like I'm tired.
Mhm.
And then I drag my ass through the day. So I'm trying to help at least with the resting. It's hard for me to nap unless I'm super tired. So,
Oh, you know what I just heard? There's a TED Talk.
hmm.
It's been shown that if you nap 20 minutes a day, have you heard this? 20 minutes a day, it lowers your risk of cardiovascular disease, lowers your risk of all sorts of things. 20 minutes a day, like 60% lower. I mean, don't quote me on any of that,
Wow.
but no,
Just
it's
throwing
like,
out numbers, but
and
don't
I'm
quote. Yeah.
just throwing out numbers, but no, that one, I
Oh.
was shocked.
Huh.
It's like 20 minutes a day of a nap. Oh man, I could fall asleep right now on the carpet. I'm not kidding you. My office is a complete disaster. I would
Hmm.
just move the boxes around and just lay down, and guarantee you I'd be I could sleep for probably 2 hours. So
Wow.
tired.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's I don't know, it's not fun.
Yeah.
But I do like what you said about, okay, maybe don't fight it. So wake up in the morning and maybe don't get out of bed at 4 or 5. Maybe do something that allows your body to continue to rest and you don't have the demands of the day already starting.
Yeah. And look, if you pull out your phone and start scrolling, not really resting
Not
exactly.
not at
And
all.
I would, if what I'm feeling impressed upon me is the idea that when your energy changes, it's easy to want to attribute it to mean something like, well, great, now I'm fucking old, or
Mhm.
something like that. Whereas hormones, as I learned when I had fewer of them, really impacts all over your body. Lots and lots of things. I'm assuming your thinking and cognitive abilities as well. So it's very pervasive. Hormones regulate all kinds of things. So, however, people want to get theirs checked because that is a thing that you can get them tested. Yeah, there's a lot of research, hormone replacement therapy. I don't know much about it. I'm not recommending or not recommending kind of thing.
Mhm.
I don't have an opinion about it.
Mm-mm.
Seems like there's enough information. And maybe one thing, if I could recommend one thing only, it's the relationship that you have with your doctor. You have to have a relationship, I believe. I'm gonna say have to. It would be great for all of us to have a relationship with a doctor who we see eye to eye and we can trust their judgment. So for myself, I really, really like my primary care physician. He's a man, which I wasn't really kind of gunning for, but I really like him. He's thorough. He takes all of my concerns to heart. He doesn't over explain, maybe because he knows I can only take in so much info at a time. I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but he's a great fit. And also, he doesn't immediately, for me, recommend medication, recommend other intrusive interventions. He'll talk about getting tested, talking to people. He's open-minded about what I say I resonate with as far as alternative therapies and that kind of thing, because I am very aware of the side effects that come with a lot of things, and I'm cautious about that.
You talk about, well, first of all, having that relationship is huge. I completely
Yes.
agree with you. I don't have that yet. Working on it.
Okay.
Two, I did have my hormones test. I told you this. I had a conversation with my naturopath or whatever. We did the test and then we got on the Zoom call and we started chit chatting. And I said, oh, goodness gracious, hold on. We only are scheduled for 30 minutes. Like, let's get to it. How long is this going to take? And she said, there's nothing to talk about. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, Jen, you don't have any hormones. There's nothing to talk about. You have nothing. You're flatlining. She said, I don't even know how you are still having a period. She said, I have no idea how you're having a period.
Wow.
She said, you don't have anything. She said, everything is the lowest to the low, like a on the. So I need to start looking into this, but I have blood disorders. So I have to be really careful about any hormones. So what I had said to her, she said, "What about bioidenticals?" And then we talked briefly, and I said no. And then hormone replacement, I was like, meh, it scares me. So I need to start looking into herbal
Mhm.
supplements.
Mhm.
And so I think what we should commit to, and we've talked about this in the past a little bit privately, is bringing on some people that can help us talk openly about it because I'm not an expert, neither are you in any of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a vagina. That's what I'm an expert in is my vagina. And I'm even not an expert in that. Uh, so I would like to bring people in and talk about nutrition. There's a nutrition woman that I follow for menopause, and
Hmm.
she's talking about the first thing that you should do in the morning is take water, lemon, and a scoop of chia seeds in your water and just drink it. I'm like, okay, that kind of grosses me out, but maybe I should try it because she wants us to get more fiber. She said fiber is going to help. Interesting stuff. I think it would be really cool to bring someone in specifically to talk about nutrition, specifically to talk about hormone replacement therapy, to talk about supplements, herbals
Yeah.
in separate conversations so that it's just focused on hormone replacement. Did you listen to that podcast? There's two podcasts on the daily about menopause, and one of them is specifically about hormone replacement therapy. And you said your friend got the words that or from the doctor that she was too late. There's the research is kind of coming out saying that the breast cancer increase happens after a certain age. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if why he said or she said that, the doctor said that to your
Mhm.
friend. Because what they're showing is if you do it in your 50s, there's minimal, every risk is a risk. But
Yeah. No, that was the context.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I really like, I don't know a lot about it. It's always scared me. Right. Okay, well, okay, because of the increased breast cancer. But
Mhm.
what the article came out in the New York Times and then the Daily talked about was how that was kind of a misnomer that they were looking at. It was true, but when they said there was something like we need to go back and look at that. But the percentage that they said was based on like one going to two. It was a very, very low number, but that would show 100% increase. It wasn't that, but right. So if one goes to two, it's 100% increase. Well, that's not a good read. You should be taking, thousands and thousands. So I think that if you're interested in hormone replacement therapy, we're gonna bring someone in. And if you have anyone that would help us, just send us an email,
Yeah. Somebody reliable and
vaginawhispering@gmail.com. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Be fun.
Vagina whispering at gmail.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody reliable and really well versed in this would be great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I hear you about it being scary about hormones because they
Mm-hmm.
can really affect us. And breast cancer is a very common experience.
Yeah.
And even though if you get it and you get the kind that I had, they'll be like, oh, you got the best kind.
Nobody wants
You
it.
still don't want it.
Exactly. You're like, thanks, great. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. I still don't want it. Can you please take it out? Take it away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
No, no,
So,
no. It's
so
all
let's
good.
talk about how you just went flying into menopause, and that was just because of chemo. How was that emotionally for you? What happened?
Well, the chemo is, in a layperson's term, kind of ingesting poison
Yes.
because you're trying to kill stuff. So it disrupts all kinds of things. So it just stopped my period. And there
And
was
is
a
that common for everyone?
yeah, that is common.
Okay.
I want to make a joke about, well, for men, they'll keep getting theirs. But anyway, sorry. I'm
Me
trying to drink
too.
less tea and it's really affecting me today. Because my
Yes.
vagina physical therapist is telling me to drink less tea. But that's a whole other
Oh my gosh,
subject.
okay, we have to talk about your pelvic floor therapy. That's another conversation. We're going to do that.
Yes, we will. We will. Yeah. Yeah. Vagina health in general, or how we're working to maintain and restart what we've got because we want our bodies to function the way we want them to function.
Hmm.
So now there was a chance, by the way, that my period could have restarted
Oh.
afterwards. I'm glad it didn't because I've never missed it.
Hmm.
And, you know, the thing that I was told over and over again, and I can see how it's true, is like most things in life, what affects us and how it affects us is just us. It may not affect a different person in the same way. So that's part of why blanket statements aren't made about certain things, right? So I don't remember like the moodiness and other things that are normally associated with menopause. I don't remember that happening. I remember having some moments. I felt extremely affected by hot flashes, and the irritability I would feel from that would affect my mood because I'm really sensitive to temperature change. And I mean, suddenly, I mean, at one point, it felt like I was burning in my chest. It was intense.
Hmm.
I used various alternative practices to work on that. And so now I've been in menopause for about 8 years. My hot flashes have become warm flashes. A lot of things have changed.
Well, so that's something that you never hear people talking about either is yes, perimenopause can be 10 years long. Then how long do symptoms continue into menopause? No one talks about that. I'm thinking by the time you get to menopause, you're good, you're done. No, that is not the case. So that's something we need to learn more about.
We do. We do.
I mean, because are you still having warm flashes?
I manage myself. You may notice I have a sweater or
Mm,
a jacket or sometimes my bathrobe that I take on and
hmm.
off all the time when you see
Right.
me over Zoom. Instead of doing that, I have a ceiling fan and now a fan on my side that I will click and turn on
Hmm.
instead of disrobing while we're creating a video. But this ceiling fan in the room that I sit in is how I manage myself throughout the day. And without it, it would be very different. When I fly, typically, wow, it's amazing how I'm just taking on and off a sweater every like 20 minutes, maybe. It's strange how it affects me more then. I'm sure there's a good reason. But that's when I really notice it being bad. But I really dress, I mean, everybody who knows me, this is
Hmm.
how you see me almost all the time, all
Yeah.
year round. I live in San Diego. It's not like it gets that cold here, but that's how I help manage myself. I
Hmm.
take my shoes on and off. I put socks on and off. I have found different ways to manage my temperature at night instead of the hot flashes waking me up. Even if there's a little chill, I put my feet out from under the covers. Or if I'm a little chilly, I put something over my head. I try not to put the blanket on and off, but I do it to myself because I like that feeling of being cozy, but then it'll provoke it. So I try to be preventative. When I start to feel it could happen, I just hit this moment of just warmth, I take something off.
I'm starting to do that. I didn't realize it. I'm much more sensitive now to that. And
Mm,
it'll wake me up now
mhm.
before I get
Yeah.
hot. So then that's really nice. Thank you, body, because I don't want to have, knock on wood,
Mhm.
the night sweats that people talk about where you just drench everything. And
Yeah.
I'm not good at washing sheets. Truthfully, that's the number one reason why. I would have to wash sheets all the time. That would not be good. Mm-mm. I'd be like, "Ugh,
Well,
gross."
yes. And also, so think about you get, let's say, a night sweat or a hot flash, and you start sweating. Now, the inside heating up element has turned off or turned down, but now you got sweaty. So now you're going to get a little chilly because you're
Mhm.
wet. And
Yes.
so that's part of the cycle. So I had that in bed all the time. So what I used to do, I don't do it now, but I'm not having that so much at night, but I manage myself. Anyway, I would, as soon as I would wake up knowing a hot flash was coming, I would think I just probably have to use the bathroom anyway. And so I would try to immediately get out of bed, go use the toilet, and then come back. And by the time I came back, it was over. And now that I'm exposed to air and I'm not under a blanket, I might warm
Nice.
up, but I just feel warm. I'm not feeling sweaty.
Hmm. That's
So
good
there are
to know.
ways
I
to
think that's
manage.
really, yeah, I think that's really good feedback. Because, and again, it is increasing your sensitivity to getting in front of it, right? And
Hmm.
if, and
Yeah.
so that's what we both talk about a lot is we have to know ourselves. And that's why it's okay for me to tell my husband, I'm feeling heavier than normal
Mm.
and voicing it and saying, there's something going on in my head that it just feels off. And
Mhm.
instead of just shoving that away or pushing through, I was open about it. My niece is here. She flew in the other day and said, just on our drive up, she's like, how you doing, Aunt Jen? I said, I'm not doing great.
Hmm.
And instead of, oh God, it's the pollen. I'm so sorry. My nose is itchy. I just said, I was like, I'm a little heavier than normal and I'm more sensitive than normal. Like Alex and I are kind of getting at each other a little bit more.
Mm.
And yeah, all of that instead of just denying it or sugarcoating it because I wouldn't want her to feel bad or feel like
Mhm.
she had to fix things. No, it's just the honest truth of saying, this is where I am right now. And I believe if more of us were to do that, we would all be happier because I am of the nature that when I express something, I immediately start feeling better. I
Mhm.
don't know if you're like that. Are you like that?
In a lot of ways, when I let the truth come out and I'm not
Hmm.
holding on to it, I feel a bit freer. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's almost like voicing it puts it out into the universe so that
Mm.
they can start working on it too,
Mm.
instead of just keeping it all inside. And even if you just write it down, right? It just starts the energetic process of getting it out of you.
Mhm.
And that's a really positive thing for me. And it used to really struggle. Alex used to really struggle with that because he wouldn't understand why I just needed to get stuff off my chest. And then I was good. I was done. And of course, he's then
Problem
processing it
solving.
all and now he's taking it on. I'm like, okay, not what we wanted, but I'm free of it, so we're good.
I'm going to go now. You talk about that.
Yeah, you
You
have
think
a good
about that. We'll
time.
talk later.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you go process that by yourself. Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
there was a term in the support group that I did go to where they would talk about your new normal. And all of us, of course, hated that term
Yes.
because nobody wanted to have the new normal where your chest is numb or you're getting surgery or all this stuff that goes along with coping post breast cancer treatment. But maybe there's a nice way to use that term from what you're talking about. I can imagine like greater compassion for yourself and also the people that you live with because you're going to be short tempered at times in ways that you weren't before. But look, even talking about getting ahead of it, getting ahead of hot flashes. Maybe at night you don't wear socks and you put shorts on or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Don't wear heavy sweaters. It's amazing to me. I was just looking in my closet, like, I need to get rid of these sweaters. Not that I even have that many left at this point, but who am I kidding? Unless I'm in Alaska,
And
I'm
then
probably not going to wear it. And I'm
you're gonna
not
want
going
to
to
buy a
Alaska.
new
Yeah.
one anyway. If you're going to Alaska, like I want to get a new sweater.
True, but I just can't wear the heavy things. I just don't wear unless it's something like a jacket I can take on and off. So
Well, layers, layers.
definitely layers and easily accessible to take things off as immediately as you feel like you need to when you start having that. But look, maybe also just a thought. One of the things that I think helps, and I used to do this when I was a therapist, is noticing progress. I would try to do this with the girls that I worked with. A slight little change, feeding that back to them, they'd feel like I'm moving forward. And I'm wondering, like with your situation, you're making some observations about what helps with the hot flashes. I'm sharing a couple of my things. You can notice what's helping and start doing that, and then at least feel like you're managing yourself better instead of just feeling so put upon by frickin' Perry and
Hmm.
her sister Minnie. I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Somebody's
like that.
amusing themselves
Perry
over
and
here.
Minnie. I know. Somebody. It was interesting why you said that. I got this total visual of a tornado and being in the tornado and that just not feeling like you have any control
Yeah.
within that experience. And what I'm hearing you say is, yes, you do. You can be it. And like nutrition, I'm going to start doing some more research on what
Mm.
do I really need to put into my body to help with this inflammation. Let's decrease inflammation. I mean, heck, that's good for everything. But I just I'm realizing that it's not. I want to look at the tornado and say, all right, my toes in the tornado, but my whole body is not in that tornado.
Yeah, because I mean, it could really be something that anybody could experience as they are suffering because of it or suffering through it. And not that we're not, not that it's not something
Hmm.
that's difficult in a way, but finding ways. So like my hot flashes used to start at just about 7:15, 7:30 at night every night. So I would try to pay attention. Maybe I would sit under the vent if we had air conditioning going. There are ways that you can anticipate once you notice what's happening. And then when it changes, you can feel good about it. When I went to like warm flashes from hot flashes, I was celebrating. Hot
Hmm.
flashes were pretty miserable. Warm flashes, it's better.
Hmm.
And we'll
Well,
see where it keeps going.
when as you were talking the joint pain concept, like that's where I think the inflammation for me is like decreasing inflammation or inflammatory foods
Mhm.
could help settle some of that within my body. I also just this morning started taking a few of the supplements that my naturopath gave me a while ago. My cortisol levels were all wonky and stress, all of that. And so she told me recently, if you're feeling down, you can start those again. And
Mm.
I realized I
Yeah.
hadn't.
Yeah.
So this morning I thought there's nothing wrong with saying I'm feeling down. I'm going to need a little boost. People eat chocolate
Absolutely.
for that very reason or drink caffeine for that reason.
Hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'm feeling very aware in this moment, like as a medium, when we're doing some kind of connection with somebody else, sometimes we suddenly feel aware of a pain in our body or an emotion. And we need to ask, wait, is this mine? Right? And
Mhm.
what I was feeling aware of is when you're feeling stuff like, let's say, that heaviness or the changes in your mood, and also the changes in your energy, that heaviness that you're talking about probably feels a variety of ways. And maybe just a thought, checking in with yourself, is this from my bodies or my hormone, or is there an energy coming in that maybe also belongs to somebody else? It could be your husband is going through some stuff, and you, being the lovely empath that you are, maybe absorbing some of that. So it feels like it could also be an opportunity to get some clarity for yourself about what's actually happening. If it's physical, also, I don't know, maybe there are things when you feel down that you to do for yourself that help you lift up. So,
I like asking. I thought of that as I was taking Alex to the airport this morning at an ungodly hour. I was getting really anxious and I wondered, is this me or is this Alex? And that's so I do that with my emotions, but I haven't really done it for me. Does that make sense? That doesn't come out right. That did not come out right. I don't do it for this experience. That's a better way of saying it.
yeah.
So for me just to sit there with me when no one else is around, when I'm
Mhm.
not in a car with Alex being like, well, is this my shit or is this your shit? That's easier to do when you're physically with someone.
Right.
But I don't necessarily always do it when it's just me sitting here or me in bed. One thing I did forget to mention when we were talking about sleeping and waking up, I've started doing like 4 counts of inhale and then 8 exhales. I think we talked about this a couple or maybe last week. I don't remember. But that has helped me go back to sleep.
Hmm.
It's very weird. And I will think to myself, oh my gosh, you have been breathing like this for so like more breathing can you do? And then I'm asleep and then I wake up. I get the alarm goes off. So even if you feel like, oh my gosh, it's not working, how many rounds of this have I done? It will work. It does work. It puts me back to sleep.
Very
Might be
nice.
something to
That's a
think
great.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. I should try that. I count backwards from 99
Yes, man, I lose
and I
track all
listen
the
to,
time.
yeah. Anyway,
Do you do oh goodness gracious, the what method, the Silva method? Do you know Jose Silva, one of his main things in starting this whole process of controlling your mind and mind control and then increasing your IQ and improving your health and all of that. He says for 5 or 10 mornings in a row, you set a timer for 15 minutes and you count backwards from 100. That's it for that time period. You just count backwards. And I tried it once. I think I had to start over like 15 times. I could not get to zero. I was like, what number am I? God damn it. Start over. And then I'm like, okay, 100, 99, 98. And then inevitably I get to 70 and I'm all, when was I on 70 or was that 80? Am I on 60? So I'm realizing that I probably need to start getting back into that. It's impossible for me to stay focused that long.
I'm laughing
Wow.
because that is me, sister. I really do use that every night. And suddenly I'll be at like 16 and I'm like, wait, where did 50 through 20 go? Like, what just happened? So
Right.
I start over all the time. It's
Okay.
funny.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, and it isn't about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it to have your mind not focus on other things. I also imagine the numbers, seeing it and counting. Sometimes I have to draw it. Like I really need a few ways. I'm kind of ADD. I need a few ways to see things to not let thoughts or music. I've been getting a lot of music, although nobody was giving me music last night, which I appreciate. But I really have to work at bypassing my brain.
That's good to know. More than one way, like just not having, okay, good. I like this. So seeing the number or writing it in your mind, like
Hmm.
190. I can see it. Oh, I can see my little hand with a little pencil. Oh, that's so
Nice.
good. Okay, that might help.
Yeah. And I'm
Okay.
listening to a podcast while I'm doing, I mean, I really,
Whoa. Okay,
I
see, I
know it
don't think
seems
I
like a
could do
lot,
that.
but it's a podcast before there's some other way of looking at the podcast part. It's actually the same podcast episode. I listened to it for months and it's called, the title of the podcast is Nothing Much Happens.
Hmm.
And it's bedtime stories for adults. So her tone of voice, her volume, it's perfect. And she
To
tells the
put you
same
to
story
sleep.
over. Yeah.
Oh.
So I can tune in if I can stop thinking, tune into what she's saying. I've listened to this one for at least 3 months, and she tells the same story twice. It's kind of perfect to focus on, have something to focus on auditorily and distract
Oh.
yourself.
Alex has been having trouble sleeping too. We're gonna try these things together.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Cool.
I thank you for letting me vomit on you.
Sure. Anytime. That's what friends are
It's like,
for.
let's talk about what the hell's wrong with me.
We should start every episode like that because how much more interested and engaged could I be when somebody says that? Yeah. So it was great. And thanks for sharing. And look, I feel for you. This
Mhm.
is really hard. When you first start, it is a lot to take in. It's kind of overwhelming and it's really hard to know how to manage things. So it sounds like you're already thinking about those things and talking to other people and finding out what they've been doing. You could try those things on and then find stuff for yourself. Like chia seeds seem like a great idea for fiber, and I almost tried having chia seeds this morning. It's so funny you brought them up. I actually checked in. In the past, when I've had chia seeds, they make me feel not nauseous, but some kind of way for a few hours. Now, that was years ago, and I could try them again, and I thought about trying them again. They have so many, from what I understand, and this is just information, there's, from what I understand, there's a lot of different health benefits that could come along with chia seeds, but I also don't want to take them if they're going to make me feel really off. Or maybe I'd
Right.
take them and I don't know. Anyway, I'll work it out. But so we have to remember that what works for generally everybody may or may not work for us. And we have to do our own investigating.
And
That's
trial and
all.
error. Right. Trial and
Definitely.
error.
Yeah.
And then going on, but taking and then,
Yeah.
okay, did that work? Did this not work? How do I feel? Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for chit-chatting with me today.
Thank you. And thank all of you for being here with us. Please, first of all, consider giving us a review if you don't mind.
Oh, please, 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 please.
Please, 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 please.
It
And
helps people find us.
yeah, and we're having these conversations and sharing them for good reasons. Also,
Mhm.
if you have any questions or suggestions or topics you'd like us to talk about, even really personal stuff that you're like, I'd never talk about that, but those two.
Yeah, those two whack jobs, they'll talk about it. Send us your story on this is a great idea. Send us your story to vaginawhispering@gmail.com. We will not use your name and then we'll just read it and then we can talk about it. Oh my goodness, I love that idea. We wouldn't use your name.
No, unless you want us to, but
Right.
our goal is to not be bashful and to not be embarrassed and to talk about all kinds of shit.
Yes.
So we're
Love
willing.
it.
So
All
let
right.
us.
So make sure you follow us at Vagina Whispering for Instagram and all those things, and
And
then Vagina
YouTube.
Whispering and
Hmm.
YouTube. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, the YouTube. If you want to see our crazy hand
Hello.
gestures that I always make, yeah, or how I was frantically scratching my nose today because of
She
this damn
was.
pollen. Oh, so bad, and my throat's all yucky. Oh, anywho,
Mm.
I'm so ready for this to be over. But yeah, come on to the YouTube show and see everything, and yeah, that's it. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And we're hoping to make your life better as well as our own. And we do it with love. So how bad could it be?
How bad can it be? Keeping it real with you people. All
Yeah.
right.
All
Thanks,
right.
Noelle.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.